right. So this stone right here, do you remember this stone?
Ah,
So what
I
fascinates
sure
me
do.
about this stone, and I definitely want to get your take, obviously,
Yeah.
but in the episode where you researched this stone, along with the other stones you looked into, you went and actually traced the dirt, researched the dirt where it came from, and you found that most of them were a hoax. But then this one specifically that has very clear depictions of what is a modern day flying saucer, maybe reptilian type beings. You trace the adhesive through carbon dating to show that it was about 9,000 years old, or was it 9,000 BC, which
I
is
think it was
very,
nine. I think it was 9,600 BP, which is before present, which is about 7,000 years, 7,600 years before present, which is like 5,000 years before any known. Archaeologists say this is before any known culture in what is now Mexico was even known to exist. Now, there were people living there. Of course there were. Who they were, we just don't know because we haven't done enough archaeology down there to figure out who they are. And I just think that's incredible. Now, having said that, I've tested many more of these artifacts and I'm getting some more big dates. It's consistent. Now, they're not all from the same time period. They jump around quite a bit, but they're old, okay? So something's going on. But I'm not ready to, get all wigged out on these things just yet, because the other thing that we have not had a chance to do, and I would love to do, and I know exactly what we need to do, and that is to try to falsify these dates. In other words, can we create an artifact with modern materials and still get those kinds of dates? And there is a way that I think we can do it. I haven't tested it yet, but I'll just tell you. You know what a woolly mammoth is, right?
yeah.
Those things were running around during the Ice Age that
Mm-hmm.
melted away up here. I mean, where I'm sitting right now, there was a mile thick sheet of ice 10,000 years ago. But there were mammoths that were running around about that time, right? And going all the way forward to about 4,000 years ago, they have actually found mammoths that preserved in ice that are that young. So could they have taken some of this bone or maybe some of the tusk, grind it up, mix it with a modern adhesive? And if we tested it, what kind of a date would we get?
Yeah.
I mean, so I got pretty excited because I'll take it at face value, but that's not where it stops. You have to try to falsify it in this case to see if somebody could fake it.
Yeah.
People will do that, especially if they think it'll make them money, right?
True. One thing I really respect about what I've seen from you is even if you see a test that leads towards a conclusion, you're always trying to find the holes in that conclusion so you can find out the real truth. And I think that it seems like a lot of scientists lack that ability to look for flaws in their own types of thinking and conclusions. When I look at that stone, and obviously I'm not an academic, I'm not a forensic geologist, right?
Yeah.
It just seems like the pictures are of modern day animation quality versus a lot of the hieroglyphs and carvings that we've seen from the work that you've researched too. And it almost seems too good to be true, if I could say that. Have you looked at the grooves? Because I know there was one stone where you looked at the grooves and you could tell if it was new or old.
Right,
And
right.
what are the other markings on there that might also back up that it could be that old, if any?
Well, those are good questions. And unfortunately, these things were found buried, right? So there really isn't any weathering for me to look at. I mean, these lines, not only does the artwork look modern, I guess you could say, it almost looks cartoonish in some cases. But on the other hand, I have a lot of these artifacts here, and I've studied a lot of them. And if you have a second, I can run down and grab, and I'll show you something that will blow you away. You ready? Hold on.
100%.
All right.
All right. I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Well, here's another one. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm talking about.
Okay. What am I looking at here? Oh, wow.
Uh,
That's an alien head. I just saw it. I was looking at the carvings on the forehead.
right. Now look at the carvings.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's pretty cool. Now I want to show you the back.
Is that reptiles, like snake skin carving that I see?
I'm not sure what that is. It's got like wings, almost like leather wings, but look at the text. It's holding up a baby, but do you see the symbols?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Let me show you another one here.
Are these the same ones from that episode that you guys?
No, these are different.
Okay.
But do you see the symbols on the
Yes.
top part here?
Yeah.
Okay. There are all kinds of these symbols. And if you look on the back, you can see that there's a couple of dudes looking to the heavens.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
he's carved in 3D.
Were these all found in the same place? All three?
Yes.
Okay.
Same as that one that you have. Here's a cool one. You see the spaceship?
Yeah.
And then see the guy holding the baby?
I also kind of see a cross that almost looks like a
Right.
Templar cross.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Good observation.
So have you found that those seem legitimate, or do some of them seem faked? One of them, I didn't even see it until you pointed it out, but it had the letters UFO carved into it, which was like a sign it was an obvious fake.
That was the one in the episode. Yeah, those things were, I mean, they were bad, right? They weren't even good. The funny part was when we were shooting that scene, I noticed the UFO and I pulled aside and I grabbed the field producer, the director, field producer, and I said, "Hey, dude, look at this."
Huh.
He's like, "Oh," he started to laugh. I said, "Do you want me to point that out on camera, or do you not want to embarrass these guys?" He said, "No, go for it." I said, "Okay." And to their credit, they handled it really well. You know, they could have freaked out and gotten pissed, but in part due to their reaction and really just the whole vibe when we shot with those guys, I don't think they had anything to do with it. I think they found somebody else's practical joke.
Yeah.
Clearly, those things weren't real. And the artwork is just, this stuff is fantastic. And I will tell you, these symbols that are on all of these artifacts, they're kind of hard to see. Like if you look on the side here,
Yeah.
you'll see all kinds of them, right?
Yeah, 100%. Are those the same symbols between stones?
I have documented and I've written them down, over 1,000 of these symbols.
Okay.
Not one repeats, not one. So it's
Those stones alone, or across a lot of different?
Oh, I've got a bunch of them. I've looked at, this particular one probably has 100 symbols on it.
Yeah.
I probably looked at over 100 stones with this. Some have a lot of text, some don't.
Yeah.
But I'm beginning to think that it's not text anymore. I'm beginning to think that these symbols, because they don't repeat, so it's not a language, it's not an alphabet, right? So what is it? What I think it could be is symbolic representation of telepathic communication.
What about those symbols connects the telepathy conclusion?
Because I don't know what else it could be. It's not a language. It's not an alphabet.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is all assuming that they are legitimate, and that's where we're looking.
Correct. But who the hell is going to go to the work to create every symbol is different. Not one is the same.
That's exactly what I would think is, like, if it was a hoax, first off, I would like to know how easy would it be to fake a stone like that? And two, if it's hard, who's going to go through the time and effort to do that unless they're a big organization? Because if it's a scammer or a hoax artist, there's going to be obvious lacks in their thinkings in some places and holes, right?
You're going to screw up somewhere along
Exactly. But the fact that even if it was a hoax and I wanted to fake that, I would think one of the major holes would be that there would be repeating symbols if those symbols were off in the background like that. The fact that they're not repeating.
Well, that's the part that blows my mind. And I did that work before we did any C14 testing on the glues. So, one of the things, I'll tell you, one of the things I really want to do is go down to Mexico to some of the other regions where that plate that you showed earlier, the one we tested on the show, and these pieces that came from the same area, I would like to go to that place and actually dig some out of the ground if we could, to see if the context, the provenance of where these pieces came from is legitimate. Na 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 na.